Hey, Off-White Coat listeners, it is my privilege to get to tell you about this sweet deal from our friends over at Picmonic. If you haven't heard about Picmonic, it is a fantastic picture-based mnemonic platform that can certainly help out any student. Most of the videos are around 2 minutes long and provide a quick and effective way to memorize material for any upcoming medical exam. It is extremely efficient. They have this search bar function where you can search playlists on general topics like renal to step 1 to step 2, or even first aid and other books. If you want to review the Picmonic for later, you can even make a playlist of your own. Picmonic even has this repetition algorithm that is spaced out according to your learning needs. This helps with increasing long-term retention and allows you to review the right information at the right time. One of my favorite functions is the quizzes that are associated with each Picmonic. I'll take the quiz first and then learn about the associated pictures and what facts I need to sharpen up on. Honestly, Picmonic is a fantastic tool, and if you use our code OFFWHITECOAT, you'll get 20% off. That's Off-White Coat with no spaces. So what are you waiting for? Make studying the easiest part of your day. Sign up with Picmonic and use Off-White Coat to save yourself some money. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Off-White Coat podcast, and this is Jordan Abney. I'm going to be your host. And today is another step special. I'm currently in a dedicated period studying for step 2, and so I've just been grinding it out. Today I have with me Mary Bess, so she's going to be just kind of hanging out with me today. It has been a grind, let me tell you what. I am struggling. I started off strong, felt like I was like, oh yeah, I remember all this stuff from IM, surgery, things that I had done way before. And then week 2 hit, and I kind of got a little slow. Woo! Oh, it has sucked. Because then week 3, I was like fighting myself, and my grades weren't getting better. We've gotten a little bit of progression since then, but I'm going to tell you what, it is not for the weak-hearted. And everybody that's done it probably knows. And if you need any help, you can always hit us up on, I know we're at Instagram at Off-White Coat Podcast, and then offwhitecoatpodcast@gmail.com. Yes.
You can find...
If you need anything, email us. And if you have any questions, email us. Yeah.
Yeah. You can find the information in the bio.
Yes. Yeah, if you check us out on Instagram or any of your social media. But yeah, it really has been difficult. I guess the most difficult part is definitely getting like your whole life together around the studying. Like you can study for, I guess you can attempt to make the like whole 8 hours or 6 hours a day of like actual knowledge you're putting in, whether it be questions and then review or whatever. But keeping up with your social life after that is, or not social life, but just the life that you live outside of that, it is difficult because, there's just little things that add up. Like it's about to be Thanksgiving here, so I had family come visit this week. Mary Bess had family come visit this week. And while I studied, it was, you want to see people, you want to be able to eat or exercise properly, and all that kind of has to take a back seat, and it sucks. You got to try to balance it all, but it sucks.
Yeah, like we found ourselves going back to the family, like really struggling to find time to be with them, find time to work, find time to study. Like it was kind of a tough balance and stuff, and do it properly, and then also spend time because like we haven't seen our family in months, and they're coming up basically kind of like for a vacation, and they want to see us as well, but we're having to do our priorities, so that part does suck, where you have to like, where you couldn't spend all the time with them, but at least we'll be home in a month, and then we'll be able to spend time with them.
Yeah. I was pretty much vacant the whole time. I tried to go and see people when I could, but it's impossible during this time, especially to get the stuff done that you need to get done. And I'm not even where I need to be yet. So we are in the middle of the grind. Mm-hmm. I will say that Mary Bess is probably annoyed by now with me just because of the whole, like, it's really bad to study at your house, at least in my opinion, because I get too wrapped up in everything else that's going on, and when and like the small things will distract me, or I won't be as active. And so like Mary Bess, like earlier, she was walking around. I was like, do you have to walk around in those shoes? It's like, God. It's like, I was like question 20 out of 40. I was like, all I hear was like, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, and we live in a small studio,
yeah,
so it's not like Jordan could go into another room or shut the door, or like I was trying to clean.
Hell, I don't even know how you were walking around that much. There's not even that many places to step.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm like really heavy footed and stuff. So like when I do, it's just like, it's not even that light of a tap. It's like a boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very distracting. I did.
Oh no, you really weren't that bad. There's always, I thought that it was funny because there's always some things that get you when you're studying or doing something else, and somebody else is doing something in the background. And so wait, what were you about to say?
I was saying I did take my shoes off for you.
No, you did. That was very beneficial.
But you are right. Like just me having to set up this podcast, I had to like install a new update, and it was like asking me questions, and I couldn't read because you kept tapping.
Yes. Okay. So that was what I was going to bring up, is something I thought about, which I probably shouldn't have been doing during a time question block, but I was like, man, this is kind of funny, and I should bring it up in the podcast. But like where you were walking around and it was being loud, I guarantee there's so many things that people do that are just like annoying. Like in an SGU, we would have those huge study halls, and people would just complain about other people doing all this annoying stuff. And I was thinking, what do I do that is annoying to other people that are studying? And then I was like, I cannot help but incessantly like drum on tables. Like I got a song in my head, and it comes out on my hands like constantly. And it has annoyed people since like second grade.
I'm not even studying, and it annoys
me. Yeah, Mary Bess was just auto-updating software. She just had to click accept, and she was like, shut the hell up.
It's like, can we not for like 2 seconds? But also, you are a pacer, and I really don't understand how you have a song in your head, because you're just a good reader, and I'm not. I'm slow, and I have to think about what I'm reading. Otherwise, I'll read it without even realizing I'm reading. So, like, you're reading a question, singing a song at the same time. Like, you got two things going on in your head. And I don't see how you can do both.
It's really paying attention to the song and not the question.
No, yeah. No wonder you're getting some wrong.
No. I will say I need to be in a study hall or probably somewhere around other people, because if I am pent up and I'm like in my house, like, well, for one, I actually answer questions better if I like talk it out. Like if I'm like, oh, 31-year-old, she's got mucus coming out, and she's had HIV, what? If I say it, then I won't miss small things. So I actually hit like this beautiful peak. But then there's also those moments where I don't know what, and I did it just earlier. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, you're like grunting and yelling.
I'm like, are you really going to do this right now? I'm like, she's just like sitting there like in a chair, like right beside me, just like rolling her eyes. I'm not sitting, I'm cleaning, but he's like, be quiet when you clean. But I'm a yell after each question. Yeah, no. So it's definitely difficult because, you're trying to clean and do the right thing, and I'm studying, but that's why you got to go to study halls. Yeah. As long as you're around other people, well, then they just scream at other people. So, hey, I'm interested though. What is like the most annoying study thing, like, or things that other people do when you're studying that annoys you? Cause like, I didn't even realize the drumming thing until just now. I just had a moment of clarity. Like, I know people always tell me to do that, and I'm like, okay, I'll stop. And then, like, the next thing I know, I'm like,
tapping your foot or tapping
your and then I was like, oh, is that walking? So please send it in to our Instagram at Off-White Code Podcast, or Gmail us at offwhitecodepodcast@gmail.com. But I really am interested. And if there's like some good stories or anything, I'll definitely bring them up on the podcast, but next week or anything. But they have been, like, I was always curious because at SGU, there was so many people that would do just ridiculous stuff, whether it was like eating food. They would like you would get like written up if you were eating in the study hall.
Oh, wow.
But there was so many things. I mean, like, people would jewel constantly, that was like what would, that like, it's not that, because it's more of just people moving around and doing things that I guess is distracting to me. But if you put me in a cubicle, most of that's cut off, so I don't get as distracted.
Yeah.
But the jewel smoke, for some reason, when I would always like, I was like, is that distracting? Because like some people would like rip a question, rip a jewel, rip a question, rip a jewel.
If you
especially come test time,
you can't smoke. That's fair.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, you would walk in and it'd be all like cloudy, but you wouldn't be able to eat. I mean, you just like sneak. I would like sneak chocolate in and stuff because that's.
So what have you done the past couple of weeks? Question-wise or study-wise?
I don't even know. I forgot everything. No, I have been really just cranking out questions, cranking out UWorld. I have a separate test bank, Kaplan, and I've been doing like 40 questions UWorld and like doing them timed so that it's like how the test would be, like to get my timing right. And then I have like a separate test bank that I'm doing, and I do like all of the questions in cardiology or all the questions in GI so that I know all those topics. Like I've done all those questions, and I do like 40 questions of GI, 40 questions of, like that whole section in that day so that I've done everything about like in that subject. And then, and so with that reviewing, and then our family's coming. Our family's coming. I review. I go to the gym. I got me a new Oyo, some workout gear. Highly recommend. It's actually pretty cool. But yeah, I just do that, and I do questions. I work out.
You did 1 or 2 assessments?
I have done 3 assessments.
Total.
3 assessments total. And while the first one was not bad, the first one was bad, it was the first one. It was at the very beginning. The second one showed promise. It was, it showed that I would be getting the range. If I did at the top of the level and I got at the highest the assessment put me at, then I would be fine. But then the second, that's saying that that I got the best. I didn't struggle on test A. I got the best I could.
Okay.
And then on the third one was similar. And so I have been kind of in a dilemma. And so we'll have to figure that out. Because I want to do better. I don't want to leave anything up to chance. I want to get if I'm going to take the test in a week and a half or not, I have to do another assessment and figure out what the plan is, because we're coming down to the wire, girl.
If you do another assessment and your score increases only by a couple, do you think you'll take the test, or do you have to increase it by a lot?
No. Yeah, it only needs to increase a little bit. I think what I need to do is solidify there. So that's the thing is, there's a lot of topics that I understand, and there's a lot of topics, like I remember a lot of the stuff from IM and surgery, and if you asked it to me kind of just like right now, I'd probably be able, off the top of my head, to give a good like answer without like any of the research or anything. But there's all these like I get tripped up on these tests. Like I know what it is. I know what the condition, like all the hard parts of the question, and I still get the question wrong. Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, I have to, if I don't know everything about it though, I can get tripped up, and I don't like that.
Right. There's been so many times you've gotten so mad at yourself for getting the question wrong, and you're like, man, I knew that. I just didn't read it clearly.
Exactly. And even on that assessment where I could have done, even on the third one, which makes no sense because I got like 1 point below, I got way more questions right. But I guess because more people got those questions right, it changes because it's about how everybody else does.
And that's how the regular test too is, right? Yeah.
And so but yeah, I made a lot of dumb mistakes on the second one. So it's really about understanding, what you're best at. And I really just have to go over a couple of the basic stuff. Cause I know a lot, but then they're going to try to throw something new at you or just throw something that can be tricky. And I don't need to get mixed up on a lot of those.
Right. So how do you prepare for that? You just have to keep practicing, or because it's not the knowledge, it's just
So one of it is for me because I'm a tapper and a mover and a shaker and all that other thing. Like I'm constantly moving and stuff like that. It's the sitting down and doing the questions and being like that all the time, because in the test, my attention span fluctuates just as much as it does now. Like in the test, I have this overwhelming, you're going to lose your whole career if you don't focus up so you can bring your attention back. Mm-hmm. But you want to be comfortable at that point. So I am doing it in timed, just so I know how much I gotta focus. I gotta get my body adjusted. And then I watched all these YouTube videos and stuff like that with Dr. High Yield or Emma Holiday or anybody like that, to get some of the minor stuff that I haven't, especially after questions. If I've done a whole GI section and then I watch the video, I usually pick up on something small that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And so that's a good way. I have a couple books, but I don't think those have really helped that much as teaching me new, I look, but that information is somewhere else as well. It's just, there's a lot of information to know off the top of your head, that I think that's the biggest problem. It's not that I don't know. And if I really thought about it, I could have, but there's I have 5 seconds to decide between this and there's another distractor in this. They put a question or an answer choice up there that is almost right. Mm-hmm. And I'm shit. And I cannot help but choose the wrong answer.
Yeah.
And just natural. So it's not a good look. Yeah. It doesn't happen outside of standardized tests though. That's the crappy thing. If you give me a or you give me what to study, I'm ready. Yeah. But if you're doing, for some reason, it always gets me. So we'll see if my career lasts after this. I don't know.
I do want to do a side note and say, just to describe how antsy you are, you're constantly always moving. You cannot tap right now because the mics will pick it up and all this stuff.
I know.
You're swaying. Your hands are constantly moving. You're flicking
I spin the pin around constantly so I don't click it.
I got so mad at one time. But it makes a lot of noise and it catches up. But literally, you're just constantly blinking your eyes extra or moving your head and spinning or your hands. You're just very narrative with your hands and stuff. But that just explains how antsy you are and how difficult it is for you to sit down for 30 minutes, let alone how long is the test? 8 hours? 9 hours?
8 hours, 9 hours. The thing is, I think it's perfect as a person, right? To be how I am. Because I don't like sitting still, but it's because I want to be moving. Now, if I wear myself out, I don't even know if I sit still then. But I feel when I'm doing something with my hands and I'm doing something difficult or when I'm in the hospital, I have no problem.
Yeah.
It's when I'm forced to sit by myself in a room where I don't have any interaction and I have to just read and read and read. And it's just, I don't know. It's just not, I guess, perfect for me. I'm sure there's somebody else out there that's the exact opposite and they would much rather be doing that than being with a group of people. But I will say one thing that I learn more. There's a lot of the stuff that I remember and I do well on in the questions because of firsthand experience. Mm-hmm. And where I was in the hospital and we were talking about something or doing something, or hell, even if I was talking to somebody that is a student about studying something or something like that, that sticks with me way more than if I was to read a book. Like at this point, I almost know not to, like I remember stuff when I read it. I mean, you know, my memory's not terrible, but it's something about being there and using my hands and that makes me that makes me remember it more, that makes my body less like, yeah. I work better in those conditions, I guess.
I feel like the majority of people are like that, but there are some people who are like more visual or auditory or something like that.
Yes. And I guess that's what I'm saying, but I mean it like I need stuff going crazy. And then I'm like, there's a zen to my constant hand movement. Like when shit's going crazy, I'm like, oh, okay. We got to constantly keep moving. It's like running at full speed.
Yeah.
No,
but that is you. That really is you. Like, give me 7 things to do at once, and I'll do questions at the same time, and I'll remember these questions more than I would if I was just sitting down.
Yes, there we go. Yeah.
Probably not. The likelihood of that.
I won't remember the questions, but I'll remember everything else besides the questions. But I'll get like 10 questions done.
Hopefully the stuff that you're doing while you're doing the questions are correlate back to the questions.
And see, sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, I remember this. I'm reading question and I'm just picturing in my head the person. I'm like, boom, boom, answer. And then some I'm like, I can't even conceptualize.
Yeah.
Or they'll talk like a rash and they'll start describing it and I'm like trying to put the pieces in my head together and I'm like, oh.
After you take the test, you are going to have all these patients who had the symptoms of all your missed questions. And you're going to
God.
Take it. Where was this person?
I know, right?
Months ago.
Hopefully I'll know the answer then.
That's true. And then you'll look good. Then you'll get a good recommendation letter.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
That's funny. So what are your goals going into next week or this upcoming week?
Really just stick hard to the plan, knock out all the questions that I can, like to do the study regimen as I planned it out. You know, I have started doing, this is something that I adapted to doing where now I do 2 question blocks right at the very beginning of the day. I saw this on somebody's thing and I was like, oh, that's actually really, and then I take some time to review. And like, so today after the podcast, I'm going to go review the questions that I just did on like the treadmill. So that, because I now have 80 questions to do. Because when I do 40, there's just like, it's too quick of a review. Yeah. And sometimes I'll hit the review button already to like, because I really want to know the answer. And so it's really good for me. It'll give me time to like kind of exercise and get the bad juju out, get some good thoughts in. Cause I got humbled hard by the second, like I did 40 and did good. I got like I don't know, whatever, 73, and then the next one got humbled. It was like, yeah. It's like, ooh.
Dang it.
Yeah. It's like, I was like, oh yeah, we ready. And then it was like, no.
Never mind.
No. But yeah, so just that and then I've got to set up another rotation. So I got to do some school stuff. But yeah, my goals are to be as ready as possible. I start radiology in like 2 weeks. So I've got to get this thing rolling. But yeah.
What is radiology? What does that do?
So it is the actual word radiology is the study of like imaging, right? And so like a radiologist is going to like look at x-rays and CTs and MRIs, and they're going to look at the image and they're trained to pick out like certain pathology or certain problems with, all the different types of imaging. So like if you have an x-ray of someone who has just a regular spine, right? But let's say they have like arthritis and stuff like that. The radiologist sees that, the x-ray immediately goes to them because they don't, the doctors like, and the doctor in the ER can actually see the image, and some of the, some images you can see earlier, some you can't even see until the radiologist has already read it. But their job is to read the image and give like the medical, diagnostic, like what their interpretation is. And then that is evidence that we have to go on in our medical decision.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're essentially the ones that look at all the imaging, basic. But they do a very important role. Like there's a lot of like the abdomen stuff and like abdomen CTs, and honestly, without a radiologist, like all the doctors, and there's a lot of doctors that are really good, and that's the reason at radiology, but there's a lot of them that aren't, or like reading images. Like there's a lot of people that understand the basic part, but if it was something complex, they might not pick it up. Yeah. And so sometimes, no matter what, it's good to have two eyes on it, which is why it's good to have a radiologist. Because like you're the doctor looking at it, but what if you missed it? It's a good thing that there's a guy that knows almost nothing, but he knows everything about what those images should look like. And then he looks at it and he goes, oh, wait, did you not notice this? Okay. So that is the best part about it. Yeah. And it's really great to learn from. So when my peds rotation, there was this radiologist that would come by and he would just show us peds images that the residents had, and they would talk about it, stuff like that. And it was so great to learn from this person, like how to read them, that it carried over into my like IM rotation, and it really helped me out. And I know in the ER, which is something that I'm really considering going into, there's a lot of the times where you'll get a chest x-ray or something like that, and before the radiologist will look at it, you can look at it, and you know, if it's something simple or something like that, you might be able to decide what it is. I want to be able to read it. I do not want to just be going in and just be like, well, let this guy. Right. You know, like I understand the role, but I don't. I also
don't have to rely on another person.
Yeah, like I like a Spanish translator, but I also like to learn Spanish. Yeah. You know, I don't want to just be going in blind. Right. And so, yeah, that is, you know, that's why I chose to do a radiology elective too, because if I do go into emergency medicine, the skill of being able to read images in general is going to be super beneficial in an emergency setting. You know, when time is a sensitive matter, if instead of it having to go to somebody else, if you know, but not only that, I just want to be able to read them. So I'm hoping that I'll learn at least a little bit.
I'm sure you'll learn at least a little bit.
Yeah. And I've already done, you know, I've done IM like already, and I could have done, and I have to do an elective. Okay. So it was either that or cardiology, and I chose radiology.
I think radiology would be really beneficial to you, so I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, I agree. Like no matter what, honestly, if I could learn
well, you've done
the imaging, because I know decent, yeah, and I've hung out with the cardiologist, yeah.
He used to scribe for cardiologists back in our hometown. And so he's picked up a lot of those skills already, so you might as well pick up another one. Yes,
yeah, it was very beneficial to learn, to like hear all these people talk, or just scribe for the cardiologists in general, because the ones that I worked with were really great at teaching, and you know, and as a scribe, you have to know pretty much what they're thinking. You might not know what's the right thing to do, but you know what the doctor's thinking because you type out their words constantly. Right. So all I think about is like, is this what Dr. Merritt would do? Or is this what Dr. Jackson would do? And then if it does, then I'm like, boom. And I usually get the answer right. But but if I'm like, what is what makes the most common sense? And then it isn't the right answer. I'm like, dang it. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's my next rotation. Yeah, hopefully we'll be getting guests in here soon too. It's been pretty quiet just because I've been studying for STEP and everything. Yeah. But we should be having guests in here in the next couple weeks, or some more guests. We've already had some. But yeah, is there anything?
I just have one more question. So, how do you feel?
Like overall? Yeah. Ugh, that's terrible, you know. Okay. I feel probably better than my actual mental health is. No, I definitely feel like pent up. And it was like I was saying, kind of in that weird rant, but I like to work. Like there's a thing, like I like to get up, go to work. Like there's something about me being stuck in bridge time where I'm just sitting around. And like you go to work and then I come back and I study. There's just something about it that just makes me feel like I haven't accomplished enough in my day. And Yeah. So I feel a little pent up in that regard. But as far as mental health, I mean, I'm fine for anybody in like their third week of debt. Yeah, no, I expect to be struggling. I've tried, but I mean, I'm definitely making it through this, and it's certainly not been bad. I guess I'm complaining because when you're asking about mental health, I'm like, but I think the key is to just, I've tried to stay like happy, and you've done a good job of helping me out.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
But yeah, no, I mean, it definitely pins up, but I feel like optimistic. It's just like, I feel optimistic. It's like, I guess when you, after like a really hard day of working out and you feel sore and you feel like you can't move at all, but you're going to be stronger. I guess it's kind of in a way. Like,
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
It makes sense. That was an easy one.
That was an easy one. I just was, yeah.
Good.
I'm one for the analogies.
Nice. Well, that was our weekly update.
Yeah, that's a little step 2 study edition. We had to make this one short. I got to get back to studying. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. This has been great. This is Off-White Coat Podcast, and I'm Jordan Abney. See you next time. Peace. Hey everyone, I want to take this time to tell you about our friends over at TrueLearn. They have this top-of-the-line test bank that is perfect for any upcoming board exams that you may have. They have test banks for all types of exams. So whether you're studying for medical school, nursing school, OT, pharmacy, and others like speech pathology, TrueLearn is the way to go. If you're like me and going through medical school, they have question banks for all the big exams, like Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3, with quality assessments for each exam. Look, I know we didn't go into healthcare because we love taking tests. This is the hard part of the job. Make it easy on yourself with TrueLearn. Sign up now with the code OFFWHITECOAT to get $25 off your purchase. That's OFF White Coat, no spaces, to get $25 off your purchase. This is a test bank that you do not want to pass up on. Make this easy on yourself. Take the deal, pass your boards, and get back to enjoying the reason you went into healthcare. And make sure to use Off-White Coat when you pick it up.